What's going on, everyone? This is Smitty here, and starting a new feedback series of videos here that I'll be doing during the course of the year. As it's getting closer to the release of Madden, and this is after the game launches as well. We want to do we want to get feedback as a community and make the point and make the push as a community, because myself, Simazora, and others were able to send feedback directly to the devs based upon what we see, but the points that have been made and emphasized and agreed with and debated and argued and everything, let's take it, and instead of just posting it and just leaving it there, let's actually take it and make something of it. Let's make a push out of it. And what I'm suggesting here in this video in particular is we're talking about the ratings. As we've talked about for numerous years, we talked about how they need to do away with the numerical ratings, especially in the sim community. We talked about how APF had the game done the best with the ability based system on the surface. We know there are numbers underneath, that's why I said the abilities on the surface. But instead of seeing these numbers like you see with these rookies, these guys haven't even proven themselves on any level yet to say they're even in the 90s at all. But yet you see all these 90 this, 90 that, despite their overalls being in the low 80s. But as you can see, it would be better if they presented it like this. Now, this template is the player traits when you go to edit the player, obviously, as you see on screen. But there are a lot of abilities, a lot of traits that don't have anything to do with Reggie Bush. He's not a quarterback, and as you can see in the next picture here, he has it, there's nothing here that he deals with as far as being a defensive player. Now, from that standpoint, you can either cut all that stuff out, or you could bore it out even more in terms of adding depth to the players at the respective positions and have even more things that are relevant to the halfback position, to the wide receiver position, the safety position, D lineman, O lineman, so on and so forth. And to take it a step further, when you look at the player styles, this would be where what we're talking about now: QB throwing motions, QB throwing styles, how they stand in the pocket, you know, offense and defensive linemen. Well, I should say more like defensive linemen, being aggressive, being finesse, power backs, balanced backs, speed backs, their running styles, wide receivers, possession receivers, acrobatic receivers, agile, speed. Same deal. Just that depending upon how you set up the style and the traits, that's going to determine what kind of animations will be available to those players. You see what I mean? On the surface, because you're going by traits and tendencies instead of a hard-coded number determining what they'll be able to do. And this is another example again what I mean by boring out the player abilities here. You have Donald Thomas, he's an offensive lineman. As you can see here, there's nothing there in terms of like what makes him a good why is it that he's only a number one for consistency? What is it about his offensive blocking prowess that has him that low? You see what I'm saying? Like, that needs to be flushed out more. When you look at these incoming rookies like Greg Robinson and Taylor Lewan and so on and so forth, and then now in comparison to when you go from that offensive lineman to Clay Matthews, you see how it's more bored out here. Now, it would be nice to see Khalil Mack in that kind of video showcased this way. You look at his traits, you showcase some of the key traits, and that's the kind of stuff you can debate. Now, it would be great to have an ability system and say he's a level 1 this, a level 2 that, or a gold this, or a silver or bronze tackler, rap tackler. He's a gold big hitter, you know what I'm saying? A gold level 1 big hitter, like however you want to distinguish it, and then when you look at Larry Fitzgerald, same thing. When you look at the wide receiver, look at Sammy Watkins, same deal. Eric Ebron, like these are the kind of things that you would want to look at and be able to see this. And this is the stuff that will get people talking about it from the standpoint of, okay, making sideline catches. If it says yes there, that's one thing. If it says no, or you could have a field that says makes acrobatic catches, yes or no. You know what I'm saying? So these are tendencies and elements that you can add into these traits so that people can see it and have it board out that way. You see what I mean? And that adds a lot more depth to the game altogether. And now you got people talking based upon what these players actually have done, then instead of just trying to say 90 this, 85 that, 75 this, 80 something that. Okay? And I'm just ending it here by showcasing, like, why not taking these abilities, these various abilities here that you've seen, of course, that we all know about, we all knew and grew to love. For those of us that enjoyed APF, that still currently enjoy APF, that, you know, this is what really defined that game and defined that personality and that differential with personnel. And even in that same year, Madden did the same thing with Madden 08, with having the different player abilities. I mean, you still had abilities here. You had abilities that gave you that differential between quarterbacks and how they're able to place the ball, being able to read the defense with the smart QB, you know, stuff like that. Even when it came down to the kicker spot, you know what I'm saying? So you had every position covered in both of those games with abilities and traits and tendencies on some kind of level. That's the kind of stuff you need going forward, especially when you're talking about a CFM game. I mean, playing CFM or playing your play now games and actually having that differential of personnel on the field and it truly being distinguished, okay? So I'm going to wrap it up here with this first video. Leave your feedback in the comment section. Let's get this feedback right and let's get it cracking and rolling, alright guys? Alright y'all, I'll be back to y'all with more vids. Peace. Every Thursday night, tune in to the Sim Standard Radio Show featuring myself, Sim F-Ball Critic, and the Zero Effect. The link is in the description to listen in and to call in. The number is 914-338-0794.